Buddy, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Getting Cozy with the Care Plan. I hope wherever you are at, that life is being kind to you, that you are warm, that you are having a good start to the year. Earlier in the month, we were talking about self-care, self-preservation. That was our topic last week. And so if that video was useful to you, or if any of these videos are useful to you, please consider sharing them. Please consider reposting or sharing them with people who might have similar questions. I'm still working to figure out my video setup, so please be patient with me. And tonight I'm so excited because we are talking about durable medical equipment. Now, why am I excited, you might say? Because durable medical equipment might sound a little dry. And it can be until you need it. And then it is very interesting and very exciting because when you actually are in need for durable medical equipment, typically it's an urgent need. And so I wanted to just take time here at the beginning of the year to give folks a chance to understand more in depth about what is durable medical equipment, what are we even talking about when you hear that term, how does it get paid for, and what are some of the factors to consider between maybe buying it yourself or getting Medicare, Medicaid, or your insurance to pay for it. So if that's of interest to you, you are in the right place, and thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Jackie Boyd. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. I'm the founder of the Care Plan. We operate out of Chicago, but we serve folks around the country in providing care navigation services. Care navigation is one-on-one support for individuals and families navigating health and aging challenges. For example, today I was working with a couple in Arizona where the gentleman was not happy with the care he had received at the hospital. He had received some incorrect diagnoses and just wanted to talk through, okay, how do I get good information and how do I make sure these doctors respect me and are explaining everything to me correctly? Oh, and also when I get discharged from the hospital, where should I go? So we were able to support him and his wife in making those decisions, and it just helped to ease their concerns, have more peace of mind, and get educated about where to start and how to advocate for themselves. We have two arms of the business. So the first is care navigation. The second is care development. And that's where we work with organizations to develop, restore, or enhance a culture of care. We do that through trainings and workshops around a variety of topics, including LGBTQ plus health and wellness or service delivery, trauma-informed care. We do facilitation for retreats, team meetings, and especially during difficult decisions that teams have to make, we're especially effective during that time. We've started doing some phase 2 racial equity work. So phase 2 means if you've had an initial assessment and you have sort of assessed what's going on with your organization and you want to tie your racial equity work, your LGBTQ plus inclusion work, or your care and support of your team members and your employees into a plan, we can help you with that. Hi, Nadia. So glad you're here. Good evening, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Tonight we are talking about durable medical equipment. So let me go ahead and get right into it. So durable medical equipment are the functional pieces of equipment that you typically need or use when you need some assistance. So what do I mean by that? It might be related to medical assistance or mobility assistance, things like canes, walkers, wheelchairs. In terms of medical assistance, it might be things like blood strips, testing strips if you are diabetic. It could be infusions. It could be hospital beds, commodes, things like that. So often when I work with families, I see that there's confusion about when to purchase these things, if Medicare or Medicaid will pay for them, And oftentimes there's questions about how to use them and how useful they will be. What I really appreciate about where we're at right now in terms of culture is that there's a lot more options than when I started. So, for example, I was just looking for a solution for a small bathroom for a gentleman who has difficulty getting on and off the toilet. And it used to be that there was just a traditional commode, just flat, fit over the toilet, or you'd put grab bars or arms on the toilet or in the bathroom. But now they have all kinds of pieces of equipment that can help you move on and off the toilet, stand up, sit down more easily. They have different kinds of shower chairs and things of that nature. So, hi, Devin. I'm so glad you're here. Good evening. We miss you at the Care Plan. For anybody who's watching this later, Devin was our amazing graphic designer and a true artiste. So, Devin, I hope you're doing well. We also, when we're talking about durable medical equipment, it's a wide range in terms of what's available. There's also a wide range in terms of what Medicare and Medicaid and your insurance might pay for. One of my favorite websites in this industry is Medicare.gov. Medicare.gov has a list of what Medicare covers in terms of durable medical equipment. And many of the things I've mentioned are on that list. Canes, walkers, wheelchairs, hospital beds. The list goes on and on. What's interesting is that some of these things you will have paid for by Medicare or Medicaid or your insurance. Some of them, it's a rent situation. And I find that the larger the piece of equipment, oftentimes those are the pieces that get rented. So for example, hospital beds, wheelchairs. Oftentimes my clients, if they are, recovering from surgery, or if they've had a situation that is going to be unlikely to be long term, they might rent a hospital bed through Medicare or a wheelchair. This is also a really good idea if you're trying to get used to equipment and you're not quite sure what you'll need. So for example, I have a client who had a health decline and then needed a hospital bed, but they weren't sure what kind of bed, what kind of mattress would work for them. So we rented a hospital bed instead of buying one. And that was useful because when my client actually used the bed, they realized, oh, this doesn't really work for me. This is okay, but this mattress is too firm. I need a different kind of mattress. So it can be useful to ask, do I need to buy this equipment? Do I need to rent this equipment? With Medicare in particular, the thing to be aware of is that both the doctor and the medical equipment supplier need to be signed up with Medicare. So again, Medicare.gov is really helpful for that. So that's just kind of a brief overview of what durable medical equipment is, how it gets paid for, and I'm going to dive deeper into that. And so in terms of paying for durable medical equipment, you have a few options. One, you can go through your insurance. And like I said, if you do that, then your doctor and the medical equipment supplier need to be signed up with Medicare, Medicaid, your insurance provider. However, many people, if they can afford it, purchase the medical equipment they need. There's a few reasons for this. One is urgency. Some pieces of equipment you can get right away. For example, if I have clients going on to hospice, more often than not, they're able to get the hospital bed, the wheelchair, the chucks, which are disposable incontinence pads, wipes, gloves, ointments, everything they need, they can typically get there within 24 to 48 hours. However, if I have a client who needs a wheelchair or a piece of equipment that is going to need to be modified, that can take months. That can take months. For example, clients with prosthetics, that's a whole process. It takes a long time to get fitted for a prosthetic, to even get in for the appointment sometimes, and then to be sure that it's working for you. So just to be aware, there's not really a consistent timeline that I can give you on when durable medical equipment will be available to you. A lot of it depends on how quickly your physician gets the order in and how swift your medical equipment supplier is, as well as just, the coordination time. So be aware it may take a while. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people purchase their medical equipment. And what's great, you all know I try to emphasize the positive. What's great is that a lot of this equipment is not as expensive as it used to be. So for example, if I have clients who need shower chairs or walkers, or you might have heard of rollators. Rollators are those walkers that have the seat on them. They're very convenient, very helpful. I have clients who will oftentimes buy those because you can get each of those items for around $100 in most areas in the US. And just for time purposes, this is 2023. I imagine in a few years, those numbers will be higher. But it's really, really great to be able to say, okay, I need this. I'm going to go to my local pharmacy or to my local big box store or order it online, and it'll be here in a day or same day. So for times when it is time sensitive, I will ask and explore with my clients, is this something that you want to consider paying for, or do you want to wait to go through the process? So I think that's really important to know in terms of what your options are. You don't have to go through your insurance, especially if it's time sensitive. The other piece I think it's important to talk about is the choice and comfort of your loved one, for us, for our clients, around what they're comfortable with and where they can have choice about the equipment that's in their home. Oftentimes, having new pieces of equipment in your home can feel invasive. It can bring up feelings of sadness or sorrow because it means that there's a big change happening, right? So for example, I've had clients who were very resistant to getting commodes, and we went as far as we could with like a urinal or pads or Depends and caregivers. They made the choice that no, if I can't use the restroom on the toilet, I don't want a commode. I don't want that in my room, in my living room, out in the open for people to see. Likewise, I've had clients who refused to use a hospital bed, even if it made care more comfortable and safer. They just didn't like the idea of a hospital bed, didn't want that one in their home, and really, really were resistant to the idea of having one. So I think that's very important to be aware of, is the emotional components of when we are making any kind of major change around illness, injury, or aging, that there's that personal and emotional component to it. So if you have a loved one and you're talking with them about, gosh, we need to make your home safer, or we should install grab bars, use tact, take your time if there is time allowed, and just approach it with grace, and the same way that we advise you to everything else, making sure you're emphasizing choice, right? Taking an approach of education and support instead of you have to do this, or you should do this, or you're not safe if you don't do this. Making sure you're not using those trigger words that really make people feel like their autonomy is being taken away. So this is a short one today. I know that it's quick. I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of durable medical equipment. If you need something, if your body is changing, your mobility is changing, or that's happening for someone you love, please get in touch. Again, we're happy to help. We work around the country, and we are happy to explore with you, okay, what do these changes mean? What else might you need? How does this relate to care? What is the plan for care? And how can you make these transitions as seamless as possible? So I hope that's helpful. Reach out if we can be of any use, and everybody take good care. I'll see you next week when we're talking about technology. I'll be going into apps and things like that that are useful for caregivers. All right, take good care, everybody. Bye-bye.